everybody! I'm here today with a driving lesson for beginners. And this driving lesson for beginners is on driving on residential roads. Now, residential roads are essentially roads that are in a residential area where people live in. And in this lesson, I'm going to be going over a few simple things that you should keep in mind and also do when you're driving on residential roads. What I'll do is I'll sort of start driving and explaining everything at the same time so that you can get a good idea of what I'm talking about. So the first thing is you want to obey the posted speed limits. And then I'm also saying even if they feel slow. And I'll tell you why. If you are driving in a residential area, there are going to be speed limits on those streets. And sometimes those posted speed limits are going to feel slow because it's actually a pretty slow speed that you're going to be driving at because it's a residential area. It's the nature of it. People live there, so it's going to be a relatively slow speed. But with that being said, there are people that live there, and I'll get to that in a moment. So you gotta obey the speed limits. It's as simple as that. You don't want to put anyone else in jeopardy or in danger, so obey the posted speed limits. And I'll sort of alternate between driving and looking down at my notes over here. The next thing is watch out for pedestrians. As I was actually driving there, okay, I was looking for pedestrians, and I actually saw a pedestrian that was contemplating crossing, but then they saw my car. I was hovering over the brake, they saw my car, and then they waited, so I was able to proceed. Basically, you need to watch out for pedestrians because in a residential area, they're going to be everywhere. The next thing on the list, number 3, is going to be remember that people actually live there. So you got to remember, this is like, you can probably see that there's a gate here in a house. You got to remember that people actually live there. That's where people reside. So be extra careful because that's their house. That's where they walk out of their house. So be extra careful for their sake. You really have to remember that people live there. Number 4 that I wrote down over here is that streets probably have lines, so they probably don't, sorry about that. Streets probably don't have any lane lines, so you're gonna have to create your own. And I'll give you an example. This is a residential area right here, and there's no lane lines down the middle. So I have to create my own lane lines. If I were to just drive it in the middle of the street, like, it doesn't make any sense. I would have to create my own lane lines on the street, my own imaginary lane lines. Now, luckily, when they pave these streets, they usually do half on one side and then half on the other side. So there's a very faint line where the pavement meets each other, okay? Now, I'm gonna make this turn here. Now, this is still a residential road. But this is more of a main street. Now, there's all houses here and people live here, but the speed limit is a little bit higher than the side streets over there. There's actually a lane line in the middle, so it's a residential road, but basically, you know, it's more of a main road that people live on. I would still consider this a residential road because people do live on this road right here, but it is I would consider like a semi-residential road, but it's still classified, in my opinion, as a residential road. If people live there, you got to drive the speed limit, and thankfully that was a little bit of a faster speed limit. But like I said, there's probably not going to be lane lines most of the time, so you got to make your own, okay? Number 5 on the list is watch out for parked cars. And when I drive down this way in a few moments, there's actually some parked cars over there. And this is, like I said, a semi-residential street, but on a side street, there's even more likely to be more parked cars. Watch out for them, okay? What you don't want to happen is you're driving and, you know, you're keeping to the right of this imaginary lane. You're keeping in the center of this imaginary right lane, and all of a sudden, there's a parked car and boom, you hit the parked car because you didn't watch out for it. Just watch out for parked cars. And another thing, the last but not least, is turn your music down. And this is, you know, especially true for people that like loud music. Now, I will give you an example. I love loud music. I'm a musician. For those of you that may follow me on Instagram, hint, hint, link in the description for my Insta page. Follow it up, please. That's where I'm most active with my personal stuff. But basically, I'm a musician. I love loud music. I love listening to music loudly. And on a main road, if your windows are up, it's not the worst thing. But on a side street in a residential area, listen, when there's people living there, when there's kids saying, why is this person hammering the brake? Because there's a little pavement that they're working on there. That's why you have to hammer your brake. Also, side note, don't slam your brakes if there's a tiny little dip in the pavement because that's where they're working on the road. Please, it's not going to damage your car, okay? Trust me, it's not going to damage your car. Anyways, basically, turn your music down. Like, I have young children, and one thing that I really don't like is, like, you know, they obviously go to bed early at night, and, you know, if someone's blasting their music on a side street, especially if it's like 9 o'clock at night, it's like, listen, I know you have your subs, your subwoofers, I know you love music, and I was in that position too when I was a young man, when I was younger, but it's just not courteous to the people that live there. So turn your music down, and that's it. That is the basis of driving on a residential road. Just to clarify, also, that beeping sound was the warning for braking. It's not like, just to clarify, I don't want you guys to think, oh, the car braked for him. I can imagine the comment section, the car braked for him. No, I braked on time. That was the warning saying the person in front of you slammed their brakes, so you better brake. But my foot already braked on time. And it was probably clear in the video, but I don't want the comment section to explode about, oh, he didn't brake on time. I did. Trust me, I did. And the person in front of me, don't slam your brakes when, you know, they're working on pavement and just dips down a quarter of an inch. Come on, listen. You're not driving a sports car on a racetrack that's lowered down to the ground, okay? You're driving an SUV in front of me. So if you ever watch this and you recognize me in your rearview mirror, please don't slam your brakes when you don't have to. And that's basically it. That is my driving lesson for driving on residential roads, along with a little bit of extra entertainment towards the end. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.